Baik, Bapak Ibu hadirin sekalian, berikutnya kita akan masuk ke partner session yang kedua dan kita akan mendengarkan pemaparan dari Bapak Brian Indradjadja. Beliau adalah Deloitte Indonesia Risk Advisory Country Leader dan beliau juga memegang peran penting sebagai Deloitte Southeast Asia Risk Advisory Clients and Industry Leaders dan Deloitte Asia Pacific Risk Advisory Leaders untuk sektor telekomunikasi, media, dan hiburan. Beliau memiliki sertifikasi di berbagai bidang, khususnya termasuk pelaporan keberlanjutan, manajemen keamanan korporat, tata kelola, manajemen risiko, dan kepatuhan. Sertifikasinya juga mencakup audit pengendalian internal, akreditasi FATCA, kompetensi dari LEAN, dan komunikasi efektif dalam bidang kesehatan. Baik, para hadirin sekalian, langsung saja kita simak pemaparan beliau dengan topik GenAI Enabled Internal Audit, Digital Transformation on the Third Line. Kita berikan tepuk tangan Bapak Ibu untuk Bapak Brian Indradjadja.
Technological innovations such as personal computing, internet, and mobile phones have changed the way we interact and shape new products, services, and business models. Generative artificial intelligence marks the next great leap. Generative AI tools can be used to create new content, including audio, code, images, text, simulations, and videos that used to take days, weeks, or more in mere seconds. By pairing the intellect and creativity of the human mind with the power of generative AI, Deloitte is poised to help our clients shape the future across every industry, effectively navigate disruption, and transform how our clients and Deloitte run our businesses. From finding the simplicity in complexity, to turning inspiration into reality, to making it better for the next generation. Generative AI works with human creativity to help unlock those aha moments that sit at the end of your fingertips. With generative AI, we can analyze extraordinary amounts of information, uncover new insights, simplify mundane tasks, and drive decision-making with unprecedented dexterity. That's why the generative AI opportunity is immense, projecting a multi-billion-dollar industry in the coming years. The days of imagining what the future of AI holds are behind us. Generative AI is already here. It's up to us to decide if we want to sit this moment out or show up as a leader now.
Thank you very much, everyone, for having me here. Good afternoon to everyone here. I do have the afternoon session, so I hope everyone's still awake. And if not, there's coffees and things like that you can get afterwards. Not now, please, because we're in this session now. So firstly, I'd like to say welcome to you all to this event. On behalf of Deloitte Asia Pacific, Deloitte Southeast Asia, and also Deloitte Indonesia, we are proud to be the major sponsor, platinum sponsor again, for many consecutive years for this event. And I think I would like to congratulate Mori-san. Thank you very much for having us here. So big round of applause for Mori-san, please. Thank you. And also to Ibu Angela. Ibu Angela, it's always a privilege to be here, to be your platinum sponsor. So big round of applause. I think everything went well the last few days. Yep. So ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about AI, and this is a trending topic that we have, we're seeing in a lot of the companies in Asia Pacific, not only in Indonesia. Please bear with me in terms of going through some of the slides. I think the one thing that I took from the previous session from Professor Dr. Linda, you mentioned that compliance and risk management has to be in your everyday life, in the way we do things. Ladies and gentlemen, soon this will become part of our lives. Yeah? And I will explain why. I'm proud to be here because we are all internal audit professionals, right? And we are the most important component of an organization because we can look at an organization from end to end, where there's the processes, where there's controls, and we are needed in the market, we are needed in the organization because we are the soul of the organization. And we are the connecting between the BOD, Board of Directors, Board of Commissioners, and also all the management team. And today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about why GenAI matters. So I want to talk to you a little bit about the AI trends that we have, right? I want to talk about how AI is everywhere and available to everyone. Hands up if you have AI on your phone as an application. See, a lot of hands up, right? GenAI enabled service delivery. Many of our students in universities, right, they are now doing more and more of no longer accounting degrees, no longer commerce degrees or business degrees. They are doing more technology degrees. And we have students or fresh graduates or even professionals that have joined our profession in a Big Four and an internal audit profession with a technology background. And that is why I think it is important for us to be able to adapt to this, because our people, and those of you who have team members, those of you who have an organization full of graduates and also managers and a management team, you will need to adapt to this because it's everywhere. Transforming people, AI fluency. Internal audit is a profession that will stay. It will stay, it will remain here because every single organization needs internal auditors. But you need to transform. You need to be able to be fluent in AI fluency. Right? You need to be able to understand what technology brings to the table. People talk to people, understand. People buy from people. Or people review work and discussion with people. But AI simplified things, ladies and gentlemen. Right? So you need to understand, we all need to understand, including myself, how we can transform and adopt the AI fluency. So the types of AI that are currently in the market or currently is seen as a big disruptors in the world, right, in the economy, are two. And this is why it's these two types of AI is very relevant to our profession in internal audit. Discriminative AI and generative AI. And I'm going to go through exactly what each one entails. The first one, it is a conditional probability to identify class boundaries and assign labels accurately. Forensic, fraudulent, internal controls, findings when you build a report for your clients. It's right there, ladies and gentlemen. Discriminative AI. You have an application now in the market where you can actually go review documents and find exactly where the pinpoint are, where the faults are, where the findings are. And generative AI. This is actually something that will build and train models to generate new content. New content. We talked about the 3 lines model, right? Is there going to be a 4th model? The answer is no. It's still going to be 3 lines model, but within those 3 lines model, there will be new contents coming from time to time when it comes to generative AI. And this is something that you apply across different processes, different controls. One of the key things that was mentioned, I believe, Mori-san, you mentioned in your presentation about transformation of internal audit, right? Processes and controls, ladies and gentlemen. We need to understand how AI will apply to that. I talked to you a little bit about the disruption of AI, right? And how, but I want to talk to you a little bit more on value adding. Because in order for us to adopt, in order for us to be agile, and in order for us to be adaptable, right, we need to be able to implement this into a value-adding purpose, right? Documentation creation, right? the language of the reports, the audit findings, right? The new world will look differently. And this is how GenAI can help us. Knowledge retrieval, ability to research different types of complex accounting transactions, different types of, summary of financial reports. It will be done by AI. Documentation review, reviewing manual documentations. AI will be able to help with that. And also natural language interface, right? Recent audit platforms, external stakeholders, those of you who are from listed companies, obviously those type of reports that you issue to your shareholders, to the stock exchange, this will make it a lot easier. Most businesses in Asia Pacific, including Indonesia, are there. We are still at the exploring/doing stage, right somewhere in the middle. Right? There's no meaningful change to the way you do things. There's no significant complex changes in the way organization is run. You still have a chief audit executive. You still have an audit team. You still have a CFO. You still have a CRO. But there will be a way to be more efficient and realize that productivity will come into hand, particularly in this changing economy. So it is time for all of us to be understanding and to actually inherit some of these things that we learned from the previous, obviously the previous roles, to be able to understand how the operating model will shift. I'm not here to tell you exactly how it will shift, but it is time for your day-to-day and your organizations to be able to understand how the organization model will change. Scaling. In some of the countries, more developed countries, they will have scale across reviewing and actually hiring people from AI background, hiring software engineers, hiring computer science graduates, and translate that into internal audit, how it will work. And disrupting. This is the most important thing that all of us need to take note, including myself at Deloitte, including all of us at Deloitte. The disruption will happen. But we need to understand before we become disrupted. So ladies and gentlemen, the maturity session here, I think this is for me just to share with you on how businesses will mature over the years, right? We're seeing right now in a lot of our projects, or a lot of our clients, without mentioning any names, there are companies in Indonesia, Asia Pacific, Southeast Asia, who have adopted a lot of the models of AI. So for example, putting trust into different types of SDM, human resource capability, right? So we need to adopt and we need to understand that our people will need to change. The change doesn't happen just to all of us here. It goes down to your team. Gone are the days now at Deloitte, I'm speaking from a real life experience, where we hire people purely from accounting degrees, right? We want to hire people with a technology mindset. And we need to adopt this as soon as possible, ladies and gentlemen. Now, GenAI, a helping hand for internal auditors. So these are the opportunities that GenAI will be able to provide for you in internal audit. Cost reduction. Remember in the previous slide, I talked about efficiency and productivity. Cost reduction. How many of you guys, when you speak to your CFOs, CEOs, and they talked about we need to be efficient, we need to cut costs. We don't know what the economy will be like. There is, some disruption in the US or in Europe and things like that, changing global scale. We need to reduce numbers. We need to be more efficient. This is the answer, ladies and gentlemen. Understanding that automating job functions, then undertaking job substitution. So I'll repeat that again. Automating job functions and then undertaking job substitutions. We are not here GenAI is not here to substitute jobs, but it's to automate some of the functions. At the end of the day, internal auditors are people, are skilled professionals, but we need to be more efficient in the way we do things. Process efficiency, understanding that there are some manual documentations that you all need to understand to be able to be more efficient using AI. Growth. Of course, with the recommendation, with the reports, you'll be able to show growth in your family. So internal audit will be seen as more of a value added through process efficiency. I went to a client the other day, and my client said to me, "But Brian, why is it or internal audit, why is IA always seen as a, as a hindrance? Why is internal audit always seen as well, we are just the police. We are someone who's reviewing things, and the business units don't want to talk to us, right?" This is a good conversation, and it's a good growth engine for your CFOs. This is a very good value-adding things for your CFO, for your finance team, for your CEO, for all the management level. Accelerating innovation, increasing the pace of how we can do things, increasing the pace of the company or the products. New discovery and insights, and workforce transformation. I cannot stress more than enough here to say that we all need to hire. The model of human resources that you have, ladies and gentlemen, need to change. Gone are the days in the next few years whereby you will engage in an internal audit project within your respective organizations, having 20 staff members, 30 staff members, 50 staff members, hundreds. You need to transform the way these people work. We are doing that at Deloitte. We are embracing technology changes, and we are seeing a lot of our companies, clients, are doing the same thing. So I cannot stress more than enough on the workforce transformation part. Not going to go through much in details, but basically the foundations of trustworthy AI are these. You need to work with organizations, whether it's a technology organization, whether it's a vendor, that have the following foundations. And I'll tell you why. A lot of us are familiar with cyber risk. Yeah? AI is a little bit different to cyber risk. AI is something that will disrupt you, and disrupt you in a way that you don't know you're being disrupted, but in a way, it will take over a lot of the process and controls that you are doing, particularly in your day-to-day job as an internal audit. So having a safe, secure, robust, and reliable technology partner is very important. Whether it's a software provider, or whether it's an implementer, or whether it's a advisory partner. It's something that is very, very important to have. Accountable. You need to have an individual within your organizations that are accountable and responsible. You need to be able to look at your organizational head or your division head to say, "Sir, ma'am, I would like to do this, and we need to be accountable for the process efficiency of reducing cost by however %." The one on the left-hand side here is something that we're finding it a little bit difficult with some of our clients. Because when you actually meet with a consultant, so I'm a consultant, or you meet with a technology vendor, some of you here are from technology vendors, you don't want to meet with someone or a company that would just hand you over the AI. Because hiring a consultant or hiring a vendor is only one part of the equation. You yourself need to be able to adapt and understand why this is important. On the right-hand side, maybe I want to go through a little bit on the transparent and explainable, right? You need to understand how decisions are made. In AI, there are many different types of algorithms. I don't want to go too technical. The algorithm is decided by yourselves as internal auditors. The controls that you want to test is decided by yourself. The sample that you want to test is decided by yourselves. Now, AI will not be able, GenAI will not be able to do that without you directing GenAI. So you need to understand exactly what does the CEO want, what does the CFO want, what does the shareholders want, ultimately. This is some of the use cases that we have for service delivery transformation use cases. Not going to go to too much details, but again, I'll quote Ibu Linda previously, talk about the different types of governance, compliance, risk that we have to do as day to day. Ladies and gentlemen, this is day to day. GenAI can do all this. I talked to you a little bit as an example previously on the forensic. Yeah? So forensic, report generation, financial statement review, your internal control over financial review, I cover. It's there. Risk intelligence, compliance, everything's there. So it's important for us to be able to understand all this and how GenAI can do all this as well. Now, we talk about the 3 lines. We talk about our day-to-day work. How can GenAI help risk compliance and internal audit? This is not a foreign slide to all of us, right? We understand all this. This is the steps that we do on our day-to-day jobs. But maybe one thing that I would like to stress on is on the middle one, engagement planning. This right here, engagement planning, is where humans, internal auditors, professional, this is where you will not be replaceable and you will be value adding. Because at the end of the day, like I mentioned to you earlier, processes, controls, testing samples is decided by us. True, GenAI can help simplify the process, but the human element is still very important to that. But the human element will only be important in that if we have adopted the technology mindset. The reporting and execution, I'm not going to go too much on that. The audit plan development is also another thing that where, the number of levels and the scheduling, the plan itself. So all of us here that work for an organization or listed companies, you will do your internal audit plan or internal audit program beginning of the year or beginning of your financial year. That is something that internal auditors we need to determine. Okay, so this is just a brief snapshot on what we can do. So where do you start? Number 1, framework of your organization. A chief internal auditor or internal audit head or internal audit manager is very crucial in this. Because firstly, a proof of case will need to be reviewed by yourselves. Before your C-suite, before your management comes to you and say, oh, sir, madam, we want to implement this new GenAI project or implement this GenAI product for our organization. You are the front runner or the person that will say, there are risks to this or there are things that we need to look at. So your organizational framework needs to change. You need to implement, you need to hire, you need to do more understanding or implement or embed more understanding on AI and technology. Your governance. The governance strategy for GenAI, there's going to be new regulations coming in, digital regulations. There's going to be a lot of GenAI regulations coming in. There's going to be a lot of ethics regulations coming in. And you need to be at the front runner of that. You know your organizations better. I start this presentation by saying, you are the soul of your company. Internal auditors are the soul of the company. You know an end-to-end process of everything. So you need to understand exactly what the governance will entail. Assurance, understanding that there are risk mitigation strategies. There are mitigating factors that you need to implement in your internal audit plan. Things such as, Things such as data privacy, transparency that we mentioned before, fairness, forensic, all those things need to be included in your internal audit plan. Fluency. I'm going to repeat this again, like a broken record. Understand GenAI doesn't just come from yourself. It has to transcend down all the way down to your, junior staff. Because if you're not fluent in this, ladies and gentlemen, I'm very proud of this profession. I've been an internal auditor for many years. We are the major sponsor of this conference. You need to be able to be fluent in this. Okay? Proof of concept. There'll be a lot of proof of concept coming to you in the next few years. Right? Learn it. Study it. Give feedback, give input to it. Because your organization relies on you. A lot of organizations will fail because the proof of concept, there was not enough feedback. People buy from people. People, particularly us in internal auditors, we still are the decision makers. So understanding that is very important. Just want to share with you in the light of, given we are in Asia Pacific, this is an Asia Pacific conference, these are some of the AR principles, regulations that are already happening, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah? So I believe this represents most of our Asia Pacific countries, or some of our Asia Pacific countries. Australia, Hong Kong, Japan, Taiwan are some of the ones that have adopted the AR principles. Their version of ManCominfo, which is the Ministry of Communication, Ministry of, obviously, telecommunication, communication, the whole lot, have adopted this as a law, as a regulation. And companies have adopted this into their governance structure, into their regulation structure. The guidance and tools in Singapore, for example, a sector that's very, very advanced in this is your financial services sector. So I saw BCA outside, right? MAS here, Singapore, OJK. In Indonesia, it's OJK. So for those of you that come from Asia Pacific, OJK is the equivalent of APRA or ASIC in Australia, equivalent to, the MAS in Singapore, right? In Indonesia, for example, OJK have started to embed some of these guiding principles to some of our banks and financial services. And it is important for all of you in your respective different sectors to embed this, to speak to the regulators, to understand exactly what is needed. Because things will move very quick, ladies and gentlemen. Legislation. These are the countries that have put this forward as an act, as a legislation, as a law. There are penalties imposed for those breaches and for those that do not comply. And some of them include massive, massive fines. So when you look at this, closer to home in Indonesia, Philippines and Vietnam is probably the two countries that are close to Southeast Asia that have done that. So it is up to us in your respective sectors to understand exactly what will be happening. A national strategy. In Indonesia, we have implemented a law called PDP, Privacy Data Protection Act. We sat down with the regulators on behalf of Deloitte. We sat down and we actually went through line by line what is required for PDP. And every single company in Indonesia soon will need to implement that as part of their organizational governance and organizational strategy. So ladies and gentlemen, things are moving very quick. I mean, we made this, I made this slide maybe about a week ago or last week. Maybe things have moved since then, right? So, in closing, I think I just want to share with you all that, again, internal audit profession is here to stay. We are very important to the organization. I'm going to stress that out very quickly. But it is up to us on how we can actually move forward in the new world, in the new thinking, and value add to organizations. Last year in this conference in Batam, I talked about the three principles. I come up with the three principles every single year. Last year I talked about AIC. Align, all of you, align, integrate, and connect. We are here. In the spirit of AI, I'd like to talk about the triple A. Number one, be agile. Be agile, ladies and gentlemen. Be flexible, be agile. We are never too old to understand GenAI. We are never too proud to understand GenAI. We need to understand how things work. We need to understand our team, how things work. We need to explain as internal auditors to our board how GenAI will value add. The second A, right? Adaptable. I mentioned that word 2-3 times. Adapt to this new world. Understand that there are changes coming. Understand that you need to speak to your tech vendors, your software implementation partners. Speak to them. Understand. Be adaptable. Because remember in the first slide, it's not a job substitution, but it's a value-adding proposal. Okay? And the last one is accelerate. Front runner. I use that word many, many times. Front runner. Internal audit is the front runner for every adoption model in all organizations. You accelerate the understanding, you explain to the board, and you will be nothing but a true value add for the organization. With that, I'd like to end my presentation. I'd like to thank you all for listening. Sorry, I hope it's not too loud. But thank you very much, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your stay. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Brian Indradjadja. Would you like to stay at the stage for a token appreciation? And I would like to welcome Ibu Nur Imrowatum to give a token of appreciation to Mr. Brian Indradjadja. Baik, kita berikan tepuk tangan Bapak Ibu hadirin sekalian. Terima kasih untuk presentasinya Bapak Brian Indradjadja. Baik, terima kasih. Kami persilakan untuk kembali ke tempat. Terima kasih banyak.